In this towering apartment building, as night fell, the winds howled and rain poured down like a broken tap. Rudy knew tonight was going to be war. He thought about hopping in a cab to save the day, but the driver flat out refused. Just when he was scratching his head, a dude nearby dropped some knowledge. He said the elevator in that building had a meltdown and many residents were lost. After hearing that, Rudy realized he was late to the party. Over here, because the building was in a low spot, most residents fled to escape the downpour, leaving those who tragically passed unburied for the time being. They could only temporarily stash the bodies at home. Meanwhile, we cut to Kirihua, a solitary girl, with her radio. To her astonishment, she hears her deceased mother's voice emanating from the radio, and after the broadcast gradually fades out, she falls into contemplation. Kirihua catches a faint sobbing sound in the room, looks around, and then sees herself bizarrely sprawled over the wardrobe, twitching like a malfunctioning robot. Just as she opened the door, she met King, Deme's brother. They've had the crush all along, but there at Okute till that our relationship was still hidden. King reminded Kirihua to lock windows and doors. Because the storm was on its way, many residents had bolted the building. Scared silly, Kirihua handed the radio to King, asking him to junk it on his way out. Closing the door, Kirihua pondered the earlier encounter, thinking she must be overworked and seeing things. Even though King was confused about what just happened, he followed Kirihua's lead and tossed the radio into the trash chute. On the flip side, ever since Sayao's mom passed away in the incident, neighbor Deme stepped up to help her out. Switching scenes, just as the little girl was treasure hunting in the elevator. Her dad was also a victim in this incident, and some kind soul showed up to help out. They even prepared dinner for the girl and her mom. Just as they were brainstorming their next steps, the building suddenly lost power. As they lit up a lighter for light, they heard strange noises in the hallway. So, mustering their courage, they headed down. They discovered that the flood had already engulfed the lobby and the first floor, hence the power outage. After the trio left, Nina lit an oil lamp. While cleaning up the plates, she heard noises coming from the hallway again. Carefully holding the lamp, she went to check it out and spotted a figure at the end of the hallway just as lightning flashed. The figure instantly tripled. Nina screamed, recognizing them as the girls crushed by the elevator. While frantically searching for them, a slab of stone suddenly slipped under her feet. Terrified, she attempted to run, only to find the door wouldn't budge. Just as she yelled for her mom to open the door, she heard her mother's voice from behind her. Nina, drawn by her mother's call, stepped into the elevator, but before she could react, the door slammed shut. She quickly lit a match for light, but to her horror, the dead woman appeared right beside her. As the match went out, the elevator plunged into darkness again. When she ignited another match, not only did woman vanish, but so did the elevator. Nina ultimately couldn't escape her fate. Now feeling even more anxious as the power cut hit, she sensed there was something creepy in her apartment. But turning around, she saw nothing. This made her doubt her sanity, and she hurried to the sink to splash some water on her face for a wake-up call. But when she opened her eyes again, the space around her had morphed. Panicking, Kirihua rushed to wash her face as if trying to drown the hallucinations. In hopes of banishing evil, she attempted to charm the heavens with a sincere ritual. But instead of divine intervention, she attracted the attention of the devil himself. Just as she stood up, several corpses popped up behind her, making her panic and ditch the white dress to regain composure. The manager said the rain was pouring, and they were checking on the victims' apartments for leaks. Seeing King loafing around, they dragged her along to investigate. King wanted to refuse but was too scared of being teased for being chicken, so she reluctantly went along. And both had tragically perished in the incident. King had to muster her courage to knock on the door to complete the manager's checklist. But as she closed the window and turned around, the manager had vanished. Seeing the exploring manager, King felt relieved. But as they headed to the next unit, the manager stopped abruptly. She suggested they split up. She'd check on the kids downstairs while King checked on the elderly couple on the 13th floor. The manager gave King no chance to decline and pulled out a flashlight and matches for her to choose from. Though the manager said she could pick, she ultimately handed her the matches. Soon, using the matches as light, King made it to the 13th floor and found room 1303. Just like the last apartment, the occupants here tragically died in the elevator incident, and the windows were wide open. As Atkins just stepped up to the window, the gust of wind instantly snuffed out the match in his hand. Panicking, she quickly lit another match just as the two corpses behind her turned their heads eerily. When Atkins turned around, they twisted their heads back again. Trembling, she wanted to hightail it out, but then she spotted the roof leaking. It ended up splashing down onto the foreheads of the corpses. Seeing this, soft-hearted Atkins decided to move them aside, but unfortunately, just at that moment, the match in his hand extinguished. Both corpses turned, causing Atkins to flee in panic. Meanwhile, Deme, while her dad slept, stealthily swiped his keys. For years, Deme had been curious about what was hidden in her dad's trunk, and today she was finally going to find out. Deme gathered everyone around the trunk and, with collective effort, they managed to crack it open. Suddenly, a putrid stench wafted out. Demi was not prepared to find her father's remains stuffed in there, along with a bunch of severed fingers. Everyone screamed and fled. Demi found her brother following halfway, so she decided to split up in search. Demi and Atkins went back to find her brother and the other survivors, while Kyuhyua and Oi scoured for an exit. However, when the three arrived at Nina's place, they found she had just waddled into the bathroom. If you found this story thrilling, don't forget to like and subscribe.